The Swara are the were-cheetahs. They are the last living Bastet tribe that I have not covered. They are fast, they are wiry, they are Gaia's messengers, and they have a special connection with the Umbra that allows them to be good messengers for the Bastet tribe or the Bastet nation. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome to the Maple Table. My name's Nathaniel. This is a channel where we discuss role-playing games such as Starfinder and Werewolf the Apocalypse, so if that's something that you're interested in, I would love to have you join me at the table by hitting that subscribe button and that bell notification so that you know when my videos are available. The Swara are were-cheetahs. They are used as messengers within not only the Bastet tribes, but just messengers for hire. In their downtime, a Swara will be more likely to engage in some daredevil stunts. Now this is very dangerous when you're talking about the Swara because they tend to travel alone. If they're traveling in a group, it's usually because it's their mentor, or two, there's some family relation there. So when you engage in some dangerous stunts and you're generally by yourself, if something goes wrong, there's no one really around to save you, so Swaras are a bit of adrenaline junkies in that sense, I suppose. Swara are also fixers. If something is broken, they like to tinker with it and make it better again. It doesn't matter what that thing was. It could be something mechanical. It could be something spiritual. They just like to fix things. Although I would argue that they are mechanically inclined to have this kind of a mindset. Like the Pumanka, who I've done a video on and I will have in a link in the description below, Swara don't have specific territories. They tend to wander, and they don't settle into one place, so there isn't a common spot that you're going to find the Swara. Obviously, they are in Africa, but their homelands have actually been destroyed, and this is all thanks to the Simba and the Ajaba, both of which I've also covered and will be in the description below. The Simba and the Ajaba, and even just normal lions and hyenas, would often terrorize cheetahs and the Swara specifically. And in these conflicts, they drove the Swara out of what would have been their homes, or the places that they set up to make their homes, and thus the Swara adapted and became nomadic peoples. The Swara, like many Bastet, do have the ability to create umbral realms, and so they are also commonly found in their umbral dens as well, although these dens not really accessible to anyone who is not supposed to be there. Culturally, the Swara value ferocity, and they value that higher than glory or cunning. The Swara are some of the most ferocious fighters of worm presence. They will actually throw themselves against any worm taint that they have found. So please be careful with this if you're playing this type of a character, or if you have one in your party, know that they might make some reckless decisions just to try to eliminate the stain of the worm. From a young age, the Swara are brought up and taught the ways of the Bastet and of their duty to Gaia, and how they are to be used as messengers and relay important information to the Bastet nation and to the other changing breed tribes. When the Swara is grown and has earned its right to go out into the world on their own, there is generally a ceremony that will take place, and there will be a ritual or a rite that is performed by their mentor. And in this rite or in this ritual, it releases them out into the world. But they also typically will get some form of tattoo, and that could either be on the shoulder, it could be on the neck. In some tribes, they'll put it on the face. This is to symbolize that the Swara has matured and is responsible enough to go out on their own. As I mentioned at the start, the Swara do have a special connection when it comes to the Umbra, in the sense that they can actually step sideways. They're one of the only Bastet tribes that can do this, and not just step sideways into an umbral realm, but they can literally go into the Umbra itself. And it's for this reason that they have been used as messengers, and even messengers for hire. If you want to get something somewhere quickly, use a Swara. I mean, you could also use a Korax, but if you want it to be delivered secretly, use a Swara. Some speculate that the Swara are only able to do this because of their extreme reverence to Luna, and most, if not all, of the Swara revere her. There's actually a Swara legend, and it states that during the Impergium, the Swara were the first to appear on the moon. And the way that they got there was by traveling through the Umbra, and they pled for Luna's help. And it's through this encounter that they were able to learn the importance of the war against the worm and that the apocalypse is coming. and of course they were then gifted with the ability to step sideways. Now unfortunately, this also makes them viewed as cowards compared to some of their counterparts who are probably jealous that they can't do the same, although you would never hear them admit that. Much of the other Bastet tribes view the Swara as cowards because they will tend to flee into the Umbra rather than face a fight that they cannot win, and that somehow makes them cowardly to live to fight another day. Before we get into what the Swara actually look like, I'll remind you to just hit that subscribe button with that bell notification to get more videos like this from myself, and if you're enjoying it, to please hit that like button. Doing all those things helps get you more videos like this from myself, and it lets YouTube know that you enjoy what I'm doing here. Thank you all so much for the support. Now, what does a Swara look like? As I mentioned, they are slender, and they are lean, and they are wiry. Now this happens in all of their forms. The Swara also tend to be long-limbed and a little bit lanky looking. And short hair is a common trait among many of the Swara as well, although not exclusively. Swara will tend to wear loose and comfortable clothing, generally better suited for traveling and for traveling fast. The nature of the messenger, I suppose. Swara also tend to have a nervous nature or a nervous air around them. So if you're standing near one, you might tend to notice that it's nervous looking around all the time. It's just its natural state. This is more of a learned trait, being that they have been backstabbed many times by the Bastet, and of course all the conflict that they had with the Simba and with the Ajaba. In their feline forms, they will have the obvious cheetah markings. Some will actually have the king cheetah markings, and these are slightly different than a regular cheetah. And for the one that is lucky enough to be born with the king cheetah markings, it is considered to be a sign of good luck. There are two notable names in the Swara tribe. One is Asante Jua, and the other is Brihen. Asante Jua is actually a Bantu. Now, he breaks the mold for the Swara in the sense that he is very well dressed, he has extreme fashion sense, and as a result tends to dress very snappy. He is well spoken, very confident, and he knows about 6 languages. Now, he has a pet cheetah, and this is actually his lover, Brihen. The two of them keep a massive house in Botswana, and they have many servants to keep the place going, and they'll tend to vacation in the plains. Asante Jua, when he was younger, worked in the hospitality business. His years of working there taught him etiquette and loathing for some of the upper class. With the social graces that he learned and his just natural charm, he did rise to power and infiltrated high society. He supports himself by being an assassin for hire. Now, Asante Jua doesn't prefer to use weapons other than his own fists and his claws. To him, the ultimate measure of a man is how creatively and how well he can kill, using his bare hands. After Asante Jua has killed someone, Brihen and himself will perform a rite over the murdered body, and they will give the body to hungry cheetah ghosts while keeping the head so that they have some proof that the kill was actually done. And depending on where you're getting some of your information from, whether you're reading the 2nd edition revised, or whether you're using the W20 like myself, the Swara tribe has aligned itself with the Ahadi, and this is the changing breed force, kind of like the Henjioke, but just not in the East. They were built to fight and take down Blacktooth, and depending on which version you're reading, will depend on whether Blacktooth is still alive or whether he has been taken down and the Simba are recovering from that. But just know that the Swara have aligned themselves with the Ahadi. Of the Bastet tribes, the Swara are absolutely my favorite. It combines many of the things that I already love in the real world. The cheetah is my absolute favorite animal on the planet. They are beautiful, they are gorgeous, and you can actually play one in Werewolf the Apocalypse, and I love it. They are also spiritually inclined, which means you don't have to play just as a guru to be able to access the Umbra. So if you had a game where you have mixed breeds, werewolves, Bastet, any of the other changing breeds really, being a Swara will not hold you back that far from going into the Umbra and doing whatever it is you need to do. The Swara may take a level 2 gift called Walking Between Worlds, and this is what allows them to cross the gauntlet. And they can do this as a 2nd level gift. every other Bastet has to take it at level 4. I don't feel like a Swara would make a good antagonist. They are definitely supportive characters, use them in your games. They are very interesting in that sense, and not many of the Guru know they exist. Many thought they were actually wiped out in the Impergium, and that line of thinking extends to many of the Bastet as well. It's only recently that they've been kind of forced into the limelight or out of the shadows. Have you ever played a Swara character? What did you think of them? Has your storyteller used them as an important character in your game? Tell me about it in the comments below. Up on the screen, you'll see the playlist of the Bastet tribes that I have covered, so please check those out. YouTube will have also made a recommendation for you. My name's Nathaniel. You've been watching The Maple Table. Thank you so much for your subscription. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.